Oh, hello there. How's it going? Okay, so today is going to be our first, I guess, guest, or the first reading. This is going to be pages 1 through 10 of the Funk Treatise as read by Mara McGhee. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right. What can I do here? Okay, that's going to help a little bit. Okay, cool. Let's put all this over here. And let's go.
Hi, my name is Mara, and I'll be reading pages 1 through 10. Here we go. August 25th, 2024, 5th edition. June 22nd, 2024, 4th edition. April 9th, 2023, 3rd edition. July 31st, 2022, 2nd edition. An expanding treatise and theory of the funk, as provided by the funk, and for the funk as ourselves and itself, knowingly and lovingly, memories, memorials, and memoriams of influential and confluential junctions of convergence, divergence, parability, and beyond the infinite new, present, and Old Testaments of funk. A hitchhiker's guide to life, the universe, everything, and nothing.
All right.
October 9th, 2022. Warning. Do not read any further until you are absolutely ready. This is irreversible. Again, warning. If you choose to read this, you will bear the burden to be what we become. This is irreversible. 2023.
I paused the wrong thing. Okay. I'm going to pause that right there because in the 6th edition, I also have this preface, and I'm going to read that right now. So, November 15th, 2024, preface. What is this? This is a companion piece to everything and nothing. It is not everything or nothing. The journey of knowledge and experience within and beyond life, death, existence, and whatever does not end here. It begins and it ends again and again, before, with, and after us. The following pages are my and others' observations and theories of all of history and existence up to these points and beyond. Whether they are right or wrong, between and beyond, whether I, you, anyone, or anything are currently or at any point of sound or unsound mind and or being, this is my submission to the past and present for the future to expand upon. I can only suggest everything I'm about to present to you. This is a quote. It is hard to understand everything at once. The explanation of everything is, after all, and yet also beyond, yourself and ourself. No one was ever really taught by another. Each of us has to teach themselves. The external teacher offers only the suggestion, which arouses the internal teacher to work to understand things. Then things will be made clearer to us by our own power of perception and thought, and we shall realize them in our own souls. I unfortunately did not write down the podcast that I heard that quote on, so sadly, I do not have the proper quote for that. Hopefully, if you know where that is from, please let me know. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it within himself. And that was Galileo Galilei. Back to the treatise. With that said, I am not asking you to believe the things about to be suggested to you, but to question them. Whether you do or don't understand, if you agree or disagree, I still seek your suggestions in response. And so I suggest to you to take notes when exploring and expanding from this. Write down or take a voice memo of your thoughts and share them with me and or your surroundings if you cannot share them with me. December 5th, 2024. A random number generator suggested I leave these next ideas here on this page. The chances of something that has already happened increases and decreases the happening of itself again. It's a comedy, it's a tragedy, it's whatever you want and or can't imagine. I personally aim to be there for you in the ways that I would want for myself. So much love, Schopenhauer. All right, back to the treatise reading. I'm going to back up a little bit because it goes back to the warning.
Again, warning. If you choose to read this, you will bear the burden to be what we become. This is irreversible. March 27, 2023. This is a semi-comprehensive collection of a completely incomplete series of thoughts and investigations whose entire purpose serves to be eventually completed by someone or something else, or not, and how it all comes together by its own experiences/non-experiences and unravelment. July 12th, 2023. Hopefully, to inspirit more comfort and well-being than to cause or influence any harm or suffering. January 30th, 2024. Though it has already caused both. November 17, 2022. Relax. Take your time and relax through it. Relax. 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 March 8th, 2023. More of you will read this sentence than those who will finish this entire treatise, and that's just the way it is and will be. It is a lot of words, concepts, and ideas, and, understandably, at times, a lot to digest. I would recommend taking your time and reading perhaps 10 to 20 pages a day. Much love to those of you reading this within and without our shared or absent experiences. Please contact me if you have any questions or would like to discuss any of this information. If I am still alive, I'll directly get back to you, and if not, indirectly. The funk provides.
So yeah, essentially, I want to talk about these things. I'm trying to find the others. So if you want to talk about any of this that is about to follow, please hit me up. And if I'm not here, discuss amongst yourselves. All right.
Again, warning. These words and other sources will lead you toward and away from the meanings of life, reality, existence, and beyond. This is irreversible.
And I mean that. I put these warnings here because not everyone is going to be ready for this information. It is going to be, it is a lot. It is a lot to take in. It is going to sound crazy when you first hear it and everything. I understand that. And so, again, take it in slowly, digest it, let it. I keep saying digest. Yeah, just let it digest. Give it time to like really think things over because, for me personally, um, I wrote the entire thing initially 2019, and ever since, now that I'm re-going through it, I'll digest something, or something will come to me later on that explains what I was talking about at different points. But again, as these warnings say, this is irreversible. As soon as you read this information, or you hear me or Mara say this information to you, you cannot take that back. And so, if that is something that you are not comfortable with or anything, then maybe this isn't the time. So that, all right, let's keep going.
Something and or someone has to be and or no one and or nothing will/won't be. Something and or someone has to be and or no one and or nothing won't be everything.
Before I even knew what it was, this is kind of a description of like the three body problem in a way, or what I would call like what would one do, because you have like, and this will get into the treatise later. Um, let's say you have three sections of something, right? Um, the first one that can be anything, like me, you, and like space, time, space. Uh, if one of those things starts affecting the other, like, or both, like what does each one do, right? Um, and so essentially, like someone or something has to be or to do something, or nothing will. Essentially, like um, life is and we must be, right? And then essentially there's a math equation to that. If you're reading it, you can see it. But essentially, we have to have multiple of those things to equal everything in a way of like a holon. We'll get into that more on what holons are, but as a quick description, holons are something that is a whole within itself, but a part of something greater. All right, moving on.
Monday, April 18th, 2022. Love you from before and beyond these pages of thoughts, words, and experiences. We are now further connected. What you are about to experience and are experiencing is only a small fraction of the observed results of questions, answers, and opinions about our existence/realities. Before you begin, here are most of the reviews from my first attempt at a public forum regarding the research and experiences you are about to explore, which is currently and always imperfect and in progress. Sunday, August 30th, 2020. Hello to slash from page 263. April 21st, 22nd. Sunday, August 30th, 2020. Hello to slash from page 263. April 21st, 2022, and page 300. October 7th, 2022, and page 302. Some of you have mentioned what I'm explaining to be.
Uh, she left out a little part, but you can skip ahead to these pages if that's what you want. This treatise is designed uh, almost like any information. You can dive in at any point, from back to front to middle, and it'll start to make sense. It's weird that way. Well, a lot of information is. But yeah, you can dive in at any point, and hopefully it would spark your curiosity to dive in more, depending on where you jump in at. But yeah, if you want to skip to the end, you can absolutely do that. It's all right. All right, moving on.
Slightly difficult to understand.
Back that
Explaining
up a
to
little
be
bit.
slightly. Sunday, August 30th, 2020.
Oh, dang it, too
Hello
far.
to slash from. Explaining to be slightly difficult to understand, and that is natural to learning anything. Here are some quotes from those who are slash were able or wanting to figure it out. Successfully, numerically more positive than negative. I hope this assists your interest in my research of everything through communication and our influences upon each other within and without space and time. You have found a way to explain. You have found a brilliant way to explain how consciousness interacts with information. It reminds me of the Tao. I'm very interested in this info if you really do have what you claim.
I'm going to go back to that. This is very similar to Taoism and the Tao of the Way and everything. Um, Taoism was a huge uh, inspiration part of my life when I was working in engineering, like after college, after I read like Tao of Pooh. It was something that really resonated with me. Um, and so I think that is a very interesting concept that this whole theory kind of is very similar to the Tao. It is not the Tao. There's two separate yaws. But the Tao would essentially be funk. All right, moving on.
If you think a bit between the lines, you may find a meaning in what they say. Is this an advertisement for a Bandcamp album? This makes it seem almost like it's essentially just to embrace what we're doing in every moment.
And that was like before all of this. Like these are like when it was in its first pages. Like I hadn't even started writing the treatise. These are just me presenting these ideas to like forums and everything, and people were understanding what I was saying uh, on just that little bit. And so I knew that I was like on the path to making more sense of it. And so, as you see, I kept honing it and polishing it, and here we are.
I trust in what dude has to say. Maybe it's just me desperately searching for some meaning, though. So the true meaning is to learn and put the knowledge into effect. Send an email. Looking forward to it. I like the way you think, Anon. 29 years isn't a lot, but keep going, baby. OP is a raging homosexual.
That's the internet for you.
August 12th, 2020. Reality has a unique and different way of unveiling, revealing, and translating itself to and transferring into and out of each of us and everything. What you are about to read are my observations and thoughts on how it has influenced myself and all others, that it has inevitably brought my/our attention to as we all together attempt to describe it, and how this information affects each of us when we are presented with it. And, much like many others who have explored similar quests and investigations, at first it may seem very confusing, to sometimes not make sense to the reader, or be too much, but becomes much clearer and understood the further you go and the more time I, you, we, and it are given to evolve and expand with this and all information, much like when learning a new language or skill. Do with this information what you will and won't, as you are now a part of it and can never be. Thank you for taking the time
And you can never not be.
to connect and form your own opinion. Take care, and may the funk provide. December 4th, 2019. I would like to discuss the funk and or whatever time and experience have so far described it to be.
This is the official start of the treatise back from 2019.
You can stop reading now, or keep reading forward from here, or read it backwards starting at the end, or skip to a point in the middle, and you will still begin to further understand the funk. All will work just fine. March 15th, 2021. The important part is you have been further connected and are now becoming more aware of how everything has always been connected and is connecting you further. May 11th, 2022. Via Caravania.
Uh, it is Caravania or Caravania. I haven't really settled on a pronunciation of it, but we will get into that further later. Or you can skip ahead to page 88 if you're reading and kind of understand what it is. Or, again, go back to the previous videos where I explain it there to a degree, but it's going to be explained a lot more in detail in this.
Page 88. Hopefully you are sitting down or are comfortable, stable, and
As a quick, just to let you know what Caravania is, since we're so early in this, Caravania is the frames of reality. Just as the quick pitch to help you understand this, there are frames in animation and frames in movies. Picture that on a scale of reality. We are moving through at each and every Caravania moment. There's more to that and how that came to be a word, but moving on.
aware enough to read and at least attempt to understand, comprehend. Hopefully you are sitting down or are comfortable, stable, and aware enough to read and at least attempt to understand, comprehend, and expand from your perspective of what I am about to share with you. You've got the time. We all have it at some point, and seemingly part of the point is now. If you're standing, you're probably going to get tired and rest. But that is just my assumption. You could potentially read all of this while standing, but I understand from my experience that I, and probably many others, wouldn't. Go ahead and try if you want, whatever helps you be comfortable enough to consider and question these ideas and to help us interpret information and expand upon this theory most proficiently. I am genuinely looking for your feedback and interaction, but you don't have to directly attribute it if you're up for it. I get it. You do you, as we each do. But again, I sincerely request you please attempt to be a part of this investigational experience, so to speak, as I deeply want your progressive input to be a part of it. Please keep in mind that this is a venture into the unknown, and I am attempting to guide you/us through or towards the paths to our next destinations in the ways I currently know how and am able to, as well as what I don't know and am unable to. I understand that as a companion and individual, it is in your nature to eventually need to rest or to get off the ride and or add to it, or even desire to take the wheel. And I am requesting you constructively do all of these things in an attempt to understand how this ride works once you are off of it or out of it, and or ever giving someone or something else a ride or not into the future. Like Driver's Education 101, but with a much different vehicle, and we are all the students, instructors, etc. Because of what I've witnessed, learned, and experienced over time about existence, communication, philosophy, and everything in between, outside or relating to this theory and beyond, I, at times, may not know how to best describe all of this or relate it to you without potentially appearing to seem like a loony or that I don't exactly or semantically know what I'm expressing, which I do and don't. I am learning how to communicate it to you in an attempt to gather more knowledge about it, especially over text, through technology and to the future. So I have to trust that everyone here, as thinkers, are deeply considering what I am saying, and you are able to perceive my tone as very calm, hopeful, and coming from years of thought and experience in an attempt to learn and educate, just as a teacher both teaches and also learns from their students. And then the students become the teachers, and so on and so forth. I am always open to input of any information to any degree. It is important to approach doxastic counter-beliefs and or normative counter-evidence defeaters and or epistemic and or advanced epistemic knowledge leanings to progress such ideas and information further and how to expand upon everything together most appropriately. From a young age, like many of us do, I found myself pondering and sondering it all to find the meaning or purpose of life, existence, creation, etc. And sometime around 2012, I decided to pursue into a deeper commitment to dedicate my study and attention to, in a way, figure out what it's all about. And this deeper philosophical experiment began. I'm doing my best to explain the ideas I've been constructing and or gathering in that study to everyone reading this. I felt then and continue to feel that gut/full body funk feeling and even a calling to investigate into what I currently understand it means to connect and be with everyone and everything. So bear with me, please. And I apologize if what I'm saying is unable to translate well to you. I am using what the funk has provided me with so far, and it is within my ambition to further reach that universal understanding and ability to translate at larger degrees throughout history and guide us further beyond.
Uh, what I mean about that gut feeling or this funk feeling, I don't know if everyone can feel this. I mean, it is, but essentially, like, if you exist or you are a thing, you very likely feel funk because you are made of funk. Um, but how I describe a funk feeling is like this kind of, it's almost like a full body tingle, but not really a tingle. And it's kind of like that trusting, like this back of your conscious feeling that's like telling you, like, maybe you should or shouldn't do this thing, or like it where it comes from ideas and stuff. I mean, I I know as a person that it is my brain telling me these things and doing these things, right? It's not this voice or anything that comes to you, but it's these like back thoughts that you have that like reach out, like I should I should call that person or something like that, and then you call them, and they were just thinking of you, or even better, like when you're thinking of that person and they call you or they text you, like uh, within moments, it's these crazy weird synchronicities that happen, and we'll get more into these funk feelings and stuff, and what I call these and everything later.
I understand if this sounds a bit odd because it all is, really. Literally, at the very moment I'm writing this while figuring out how to express all of this information to you, the music by chance to be playing is titled How Do You Feel? And I feel reality. I feel that funk feeling. And I'm thinking, as we all often do, and I'm still attempting to figure out how to express these thoughts to everyone and or everything, while at the same time most productively doing so semantically. And ironically, the next track is titled Beliefs, and these ironic coincidences or synchronicities continue to happen as they do to all. But over time, I understand them more and more as I gather and have gathered all of this together.
And so, what you're going to notice in these is like uh, my identifying of patterns, kind of how this funk was translating to me on how to move forward or giving me ideas or relating to situations. And I think we each have these happen to us every day. Um, it's just when you either learn how to see these things and pick up on them. They're not always going to be very obvious or in your face and everything. Um, but I have personally found that like they guide you. Um, and I can't say that it is always good or bad because there is no good or bad really. The funk provides anything, everything, all experience. And so when depending on like, and again, this isn't exact. I can't say these exact things, but like it kind of seems that like depending on where funk wants to guide you, maleureticny, and that's another word that we're going to learn later of um, from one point of time and space to whatever exists in the future. I believe funk is guiding you into your proper path at every chiropractic moment. Um, and I, I'm feeling it right now. I felt it yesterday. Basically, it was like it's time to start doing these things. And start to put these out there. Uh, and so I did, and I'm doing it. and, uh, and I'm excited to see the response to this and what people think and how they feel about funk. All right. I'm going to repeat myself a lot saying stuff like that, but really, I am just excited to share these things and get these videos out because it's been a long time in the running. But I'm rambling.
March 5th, 2023. The medium is the message. Marshall McLuhan.
The medium is the message. There, someone can explain that much better to you, but essentially, um, how I can explain it off the top of my head is essentially this is the medium right here. Um, the medium was the treatise. The medium is this video. The medium is you and I, and that's the message that is being revealed to us right now in this moment. There's a lot more to that on that statement and everything, but I think it would be best. And additionally, with all this, with stuff like that, I encourage you to Google that and learn the deeper meanings behind it. I can't put everything and every like meaning in this treatise, or it'll be all the information on everything. And so you will see a lot of snippets on examples from philosophers or other people, just like certain points that came as I was editing that fit perfectly in these moments. Um, Hopefully that makes sense. And again, if not, please question me, ask questions. I am here for discourse.
It is my observation that everything is connected through our experiences of being and doing. We are all here, right now, past, present, and future, living, experiencing, being, doing, verbing, etc. Much like a switch giving power to an object, our existence are currently in the state of on, and some sort of energy or a source of power or thing is providing us that experience of on because it is also on. If it were off, questionably so, such we, and everything else that exists as a result of this on would then be off or not. I call this whole expanding experience of on and everything within it and beyond, outside of it, causing it to be on and be, or even to potentially and theoretically be off, to be called the funk. The all of everything and beyond, including nothingness.
Literally everything and nothing.
It seems influential string theory like wavelengths, similar to sound, energy, feeling, etc., have much to do with the experience as well as all the other senses and beyond, that all feelings and beyond, and or all experiences of funk can be applied to. Things needed, need, have happened, and will happen in order for everything in this on to expand and grow and learn the experiences of being itself or not. Much like the theory of evolution, or even any advanced learning with or without technology, if given enough calculable or incalculable time and effort, things eventually advance, evolve, or acclimate in a way that life, existence, or funk needs them to currently and always be, and it will always and forever keep advancing and growing and expanding from everything that is happening, will happen, and won't happen. And the funk will gather that experiential data and apply it toward itself ad infinitum. Infinitely advancing both simultaneously, infinitely advancing both simultaneously and asynchronously, within and without each instant of time, space, and beyond, and expanding fractal like asymptote, expanding across an infinite Fibonacci sequence beyond macro and micro. I postulate that as time has passed and it is passing, we, as those who exist within the funk and that which experience it, are able to some way or somehow have learned or eventually will learn to connect deeper with itself through itself and learn from experiencing itself, because we have all existed within it and are able to eventually understand and extrapolate further the data and information in whatever form or way to each other and everything. And then, and even everything that we won't or can't experience, something eventually will. Over time, over enough time, experience, and study, over enough time, experience, and study, observable patterns begin to show within everything. And if we, being whatever is existing at the time, learn to look for those patterns and learn to understand them, much like solving a puzzle or learning a new language, we within the funk expand from that information, and it is exponentially, statistically leads to whatever comes next, just by being and doing. And if we don't do or be, that is still a part of the process of everything. And eventually, over time, some form of the funk will eventually do or be or achieve whatever connection needed to move on to the next non connection.
New connection.
So, it is subjectively, objectively more productive to do than not, since not doing, when achievable, can still be considered an act of being done. Anything is mathematically greater than nothing, but nothing can still be a significantly immaculate amount. The funk will keep expanding from these doings, non doings, and undoings, and our experiences within it until perhaps it, which only seems possible, can't, won't, or doesn't, and then with enough time and probability, or lack of, everything eventually will again and again and again, while also not. Unless it doesn't. February 1st, 2024, so seemingly, here we are in a form and point of that process becoming further forms and points of these processes and beyond.
So essentially, kind of a summary of my understanding of this to you, or what I'm thinking about at least, is all of this happened, right? Like, whether we don't know how we're experiencing these things, we don't know if this is a simulation or not. We don't know if we're just a brain in a jar hallucinating that all this exists, right? But we do know that we are here in this moment right now. I'm talking to you through this camera, watching this video, and you are either listening or not. I'm talking to a future that doesn't exist yet. But if you're listening to it, you are collapsing that it together. And so that's kind of showcasing that no matter what, these things are going to happen. They're going to probably happen again statistically. If not, have already happened already. And we're just going through the motions. And maybe that is why we have these funk feelings to guide us into different directions on what is right and wrong and morality and everything. And basically that, it's all going to keep happening until eventually it can't or doesn't or won't. But very likely, even in that event, it'll probably happen again, or something along the lines of. But funk will be forever. Funk can not stop. Even if it is just nothing, it is still funk as nothing, which is conceptually interesting to think about. Excuse me.
Thus, I postulate each and every sound, smell, taste, moment, feeling, or creative construction of existence and beyond is a way of further communicating and connecting with the funk, as a form of quantum universal trans interspecies being through metaphysical contact and communication via inter and outer connections of itself. That the funk influences you directly, indirectly, and beyond, and everything in it and perhaps out of it or without it, in order to advance itself, though, through yourself and everything it has created or influenced into further greater and lesser being. An absolute balance of funk existence and non existence, with each of us and everything being, at all time and space, simultaneously the center and the surroundings.
So kind of a connection of the Atman and the Brahman
Have you ever felt when listening to music or
as a funk. Sorry.
reading something or experiencing art or even a simple event of being or doing like eating or breathing that it was what you needed at that moment or that it was somehow about or relating to you? What if it is or was? And not just you, but you as in us, and the more than us, but as in it all. Everything and nothing, as what you and we are and eventually become and will always be and have been. Perhaps when you taste a strawberry, you appreciate that experience because it is becoming you, and in some way already is a part of your being and what you do and are. All of it. You, the strawberry, every particle, atom, wave, negative space, etc., coming together at that moment from the collective past and providing for itself an experience as the all and of the all. A funk. You can experience a strawberry because both of you have once metaphysically been each other as funk and now are each other interacting and reacting again in whichever way you do or do not as funk and in funk.
And in March 29th, 2025, I wrote, in a way, your unconscious identity. All the memories that have been stored in your body and beyond epigenetically. Because as they say, we were once just stardust until we, became these things. And so we are literally constructed of the universe, of funk. We are funk. I would argue that, like, yes, I am Sean Penalber. You are whoever you are. We are two separate things, but we are a funk together. Um, and so, uh, lost my train of thought there. Let's move on.
I acknowledge that you and I and everything are absolutely different as individuals. Individuality is important and integral for the gathering perspective and relative experience that then co influences beyond the individual. So, given enough time, eventually, as I propose, funk results in X, and X eventually results in the atomic structure of I and you. And with enough time, I eventually becomes you, and you become me, if not already, and in every infinite way. And we are us as each other and everything forever and ever, down to every particle of space and beyond, as both a collective and individuals' units of funk. The units of infinity, both being both one and many all. This is currently what I can imagine to be our existence, though also potentially not. Collected ideas of the collective things within our current observable and unobservable existences. August 10th, 2024, to clarify the y'all forms of I and you are completely separate as individuals but can become each other as different variations forms of y'all, i.e., you can become I version 2 and I could become you version 983450. But I cannot become the truest absolute form of you and vice versa, as they are two completely separate forms of funk y'all. They could be the exact same to the atomic or quantum level, but would not be the same via kairos, chronos, or carvanial position or location. I could theoretically gain the perspective of what it is like to be you or transfer my consciousness into you, but that would not make me you, as it would be a combined form of you and I. While potentially there are infinite versions of you and I, there is only one true you and I at every cardinal moment. At as there is also one funk in internet infinite versions of.
So essentially, like, I will always be me, and you will always be you. I can never be that. Now, I could become, like, let's say, uh, we put my consciousness in your body. That is that. It is just my consciousness in your body. It is not you. It is a different Yah of you at that point. And so there is always going to be a true Yah of any and every Carvenia moment and everything. Um, mhm.
Like infinity, we are simultaneously a collective us comprised of many individuals and moments, and being able to eventually and being able to even partially imagine this or that or any reality makes anything and everything even more possible or probable by influence. So, even if I'm unable to explain to you the purpose of this whole experience together, we can observe one of the potential infinite meanings of the individual existence is to exist and to do/be what one can or can't do/be, and provide what one is able to and or not, and for all of us and everything as the funk, to expand and evolve from our data and experience of and from us doing and being all of these things that do and don't happen and or beyond, and as funk. To connect and expand with the funk through success, failure, anything, everything, and nothing. And to be and or not to be, and to do and or do not. March 15th, 2021. While failure is failure, it is also a form of progress. I put this idea into Google and failure is success and progress. Albert Einstein. I have observed that the more you connect with the funk, the subjectivity and or subjectively or objectively, I have I have observed that the more you connect with the funk, the subjectively and or objectively, more impactful value of that experience as it provides for itself and everything within, as do you, while sometimes not. And when we take this information and continuously attempt to apply it to each other and everything, we sometimes advance in whatever way it means for you or us and to the funk, whether it be proactive and or reactive, positive or negative, constructive and or destructive, neutral or beyond. If you provide for it in a way it created you to, which you are doing right now, then it is in some way provides back to you, and additionally also does not. Whatever you do is in a way right for it, even it's seemingly wrong, as every right or wrong adds to the funk. And that is the exact information and experience it needed to adapt and exist as a balanced and existing funk and non funk.
So what I mean by that is uh, any and every choice that you make, anything that you do, that is the right choice, essentially. Um, Now, when it comes into question of like, uh, that is when you need to learn why you are doing what you're doing, what you are doing, how it affects yourself, how it affects others. Because if you just go out and just do things that has effect, it has influence on things. Like if you're a meteor and you're coming to, you just want to smash through things and everything, that has effect on everything else. You can absolutely have that choice, or even as a meteor, you maybe not even have that choice because you're not a thing with choice. And that is why us as humans, with that choice, while we are still at every moment, this is our, we were meant to be here, sharing this and learning these things. Uh, that's not it's not the final answer. You should always be continuously uh, seeking purpose, your meaning, finding your eudaimonics, essentially, your flourishing. Like, what is your purpose? And you will and you won't know what it is until you get there, and you are it and you be it, and then after you're gone, uh, everything else will kind of analyze that and have their own interpretation of what that purpose was and is, uh, and that is how the funk provides. All right, moving on.
Calculated and tested by you being what you are and anything and everything being what it is, who it is, where it is, why it is, when it is, and how it is. A digit and or digits in an equation attempting to work itself and themselves out. As we seemingly all appear to relate to, be doing, and are a part of, again by coincidence, chance or quantum form of randomness or random number generation. As I type this, the universal sound for an idea is ding ding from the desk bell can be heard. Also, as if the funk wanted me to know I was on the right track and should keep going. How can these coincidences be so improbable yet be happening to us every day all the time? Even a statistic of 0.000000000000000000000000000000001% and beyond is absolutely possible, no matter how infinitesimally small it can may be. When it eventually happens, it then will have happened 100% and can never be not happened again, while also being completely known to not yet have happened or not and again. To our theoretical knowledge, all of the time has potentially already happened, and our existence is us, beyond individually and or also as a whole, experiencing everything as it is still happening. As we and time move forward, while simultaneously studying and learning from the backward or historical past, we find more and more information on how things seem to work and what everything is and is not. Unfortunately, our brains, though extremely powerful, are not yet perhaps as efficient as advanced technologies our brains have created, are creating, or will create, like calculators, computers, and the internet, or some advanced information, encyclopedia, or anything in the form of a storage tank of and for data and information or experience. Personally, I, as an individual, don't have omnipotent and or omnipresent access to all the information, so I am right now, and also currently at the present, your/our now, connecting these ideas into us to raise potential awareness in an attempt to become whatever is next. Perhaps more advanced machines or creatures of progress could potentially have these powers or abilities, which is why I would like to expand upon this incomplete theory with your input, perception, and understanding of it. Yes, you. I am asking you, as a conscious part of the funk, for your thoughts about itself and ourselves and the data of patterns and how to expand upon it successfully together. Whatever your response may be, and even the lack of, greatly influences our reality. So I guess my first big question is, if you have read what I've just written and been told about it, or are writing it, have written it, attributed to it, thought it, experienced it, or influenced by it in any way, whether it be by sound, smell, sight, taste, touch, memory, etc., either directly or indirectly or beyond, what are your examples of the funk being false and or true after this point of being currently aware and or connected to all of this data, information, and experience we have collected directly, indirectly, or other, and if so, how and or why? February 1st, 2024. What is your ability to translate or describe your understanding of the funk to yourself, myself, or another? A bunch of blah 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 plays.
And so, essentially, what I asked there is, how do you respond to this? We're only in the beginning. You don't have to respond yet. But I'm just looking for how this influences you, how this affects you. If that is nothing, then that is how it affects you. But if it makes you feel something or you have something to say about it, I'm asking, please, please share that. But additionally, going back to the previous paragraph, kind of what I mean on that is this is just, again, and I say it in the introduction, this is just a stepping stone. And uh, a couple of really interesting videos I watched recently. I cannot remember the names of the people that this was about, but the first one was about this mathematician who was presenting these ideas, and everyone was just like, "This makes no sense. You're crazy." And they, like they treated him like that, and he kept with it, and he kept going with it, and now it is a an understood thing. Like it is a big deal, and it just needed those tiny steps. And what helped was other people reading these papers and being like, that kind of makes sense with what I am thinking. This kind of expanded separate consciousness, like one person's thinking this thing over here and someone's thinking that over there, and then when it's disconnected and they both can't reach this thing, but when they hear about each other's things, oh man, boom, they have this epiphany and it works together. And that's kind of what happened with that. And same thing with another story about the guy who invented the way to basically like um, something with DNA. I can't remember. I'm sorry. Bad at remembering and telling stories. And that is why I write things down like this, so where you can go back to it. Because a thing that is going to be brought up into this is you will forget all this information. You will forget these things. It's important to save them, talk about them, so that you can go back to them and share them and evolve them and everything.
After all the time to exist across existence, the aforementioned 0.00000 repeating 1% chance is this moment and all the moments preceding, before, and those following after those collective moments and beyond, then no longer can never not be or have not happened. Respond in whatever way makes sense to you, any and every way that you are able and unable to do. Everything that has ever happened has led to right now and beyond, and you are experiencing the event live as it happens and unfolds, even though it has not happened yet, but also happened and is happening again and again, right now and everywhere and when else, within and beyond your belief.
And so, yeah, however all this happened, the universe was created in some way, right? Existence happened, and then all of that time, however long that may be, happened. And here you and I are, right here in this moment. And I say that a lot because the power of that is insane. The chances of that are insane. It is that 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, blah, 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 at every single moment. Here, right now, and now, and now. That is, it's crazy. Uh, and I wish I had better words to describe these things, better synonyms and everything to like make it more magical, because it is magical. Um, and then I follow up, respond, however this makes sense to you. Does this make sense? Does it not make sense? Uh, how can we help each other now that we're connected? How can we evolve this information? And that is the goal. If we keep connecting this together, all of these things together, and polishing it and evolving it, I think it's going to become something pretty cool. We'll see, but that's just my opinion.
I can personally say that for the most part, besides the moments of individual or shared universal suffering, I enjoy experiencing all of this data and information that we can closer share and connect as individuals or groups. And in effect, we directly and indirectly extend the reach and knowledge of the funk as a whole based off our influences that we attribute to each other. It is the opportunity to live and not live, to exist and not exist, to be and not to be, and what becomes of all of this and that from all of this and that, and what doesn't. Epistemically, we are within and without the moments of here and there, whatever that may be. We just don't quite know how or why yet.
And then to finish that paragraph, July 17th, 2024, this is a quote. For the Buddhist, suffering is to be escaped by eliminating the centrality of the subject and therefore deny the nature of the subject to see themselves as central. To Nietzsche, suffering can only become once it's affirmed and embraced, or what is called amor fati. And then I say, love you. And there's more after that. All right, and so that's pages 1 through 10. There's 4 seconds left. Let's see. She's turning it off. Okay. Now let's go into Mara's feedback.
Hello, my name is Mara McGhee, and I read pages 1 through 10 of the Funk Treatise. And I've got some thoughts. So, first, thing is that in general I liked it. I liked what I read. I did not finish the whole thing, but I did like kind of getting into the idea of the funk and what it means and how it incorporates all of everybody and who we are and what we are to each other as human beings. I thought that was really, really cool.
And not just human beings. I mean, literally anything and everything. Like how connected we are to a book. You know, the atoms, the molecules beyond the atoms, beyond quarks. We don't even conceptually know how that even works yet. So all of this, fun.
Um, I also thought that there is when it came to reading it, I thought it was a little difficult to read at times though out loud. When we read, there's a way that you read in your head when you're not saying it out loud, and then there's a way to read things when you are saying them out loud. And so the way it was written with the slashes and the wounds, or no, slashes and like the parentheses and like what's italicized and bolded and what's not, or what's a directive and what's not. I did think that was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I in the future am trying to like figure out a way to make that easier to translate. Um, because I do understand what you're saying. Like reading it, me reading my own work, I'm going to understand it a little bit more than another person. But also, philosophy in general is just tough to read. I am glad that mine. I hope that my philosophy in this treatise is a little easier to read than a lot of philosophy, because some of the stuff that I have read goes completely over my head to the point where it's like, okay, I got to put this down and listen to someone explain it to me. And so I'm glad that at least it carries over for the most part. Um, and additionally, I understand the whole like slash things and stuff of like this will and won't, because it really is all sides, and I have to sometimes state that for it to make sense, because you can't just lean it and put it on one side, because funk is anything, everything, all encompassing, and so it's a lot of words to put in. So
Going through this, looking at it again, I wasn't sure if I should read everything or not, and I just read everything. So
you agree?
congratulations.
Thank you.
um, and also, like when it comes to like dates and things like that, or what's in brackets and like what is a quote and like the dates and all of that stuff was a little confusing. But again, I just read it.
And it explains in the treatise like what the bold means and stuff, but it explains that in time, like when it happens and when I start doing that, which is actually in the next few pages. But essentially, I leave timestamps in bold of like all the treatise I wrote in 2019 is in normal text, and then when I'm going back to edit more later, I put when that timestamp is in time, and then I put my thoughts on it. And it's kind of cool of me talking through myself through time, and you, the reader, being able to time travel at different moments, even as it's just unfolding. I think that's a cool concept, really, to toot my own horn.
Again, or read it all. I did think that it took a little bit to get into. A lot of what I ended up reading was about what we are about to read. So it sounds like it was a lot of introduction of what was to come, as opposed to just getting right into it and digging into it.
And that, unfortunately, is super important. I mean, when you like, there's a lot to cover before you like get into. Because if you just drop right in, then you're going to be asking some of the questions that I cover up here. But additionally, I mean, look at Kant. He wrote an entire book, the groundwork of the metaphysics of morals, before he put out the other book, the metaphysics of morals. So he has an entire book of introduction. So I'm glad that at least this is not that, because I've tried to read that, and that is one of those ones where it's just like, what the heck is this? You got to be pretty smart to be able to just understand that off the bat. I told you, wisdom over intelligence here.
um, a little bit of the Oh, some of the things that I thought was a little difficult to read was like, yeah, the slashes and things like that, but also like the everything slash nothing slash some things, just no things or anything. Like, I wonder if there's like a shorthand to kind of express the everything and all possibilities of it all,
And that's funk, which I
to
wish I could
really
say
make it a
that.
little bit easier to digest and comprehend.
But I mean, again, I have to put you, the reader, through those experiences for you to understand what funk is. And so now, as Mara was saying that, these slashes and everything, in the future, you will know that that is what kind of funk means in a way.
Let's see. Let me pause. I did feel like I learned a lot. I really did like the different philosophies that are incorporated, whether they're just quotes or whether they're, other philosophies and theories that are out there. I did like the incorporation of all of those. That was really, really nice and really cool to kind of see, and just kind of a really cool philosophy and thought experiment to incorporate all of these thoughts together and kind of remix it and make it your own.
So what this kind of there's not really a word for what this is. I would kind of say it is a omnist um, presentation. It is the collection of anything and everything that has happened, all leading up to this moment that now I am analyzing as we move forward and learn new things. So it is every religion, it is every ideology. I listen to a different podcast of all of these things every single day. A different, again, just something else, something new. Because from what I'm finding and what I'm seeing is all of these things are basically kind of trying to explain funk, but in different words, in different languages, in different time periods. Um, and I find that fascinating. And so it is that it is this collection of all of these things and everything.
Um, Yeah, I should finish reading the whole thing.
I hope you do.
I did get through more than my 10 pages, but I didn't get through all 300 of this single space. Is it 12-point font? So it is thick. It is heavy with information. Um, it is a lot to go through. So
And that is why I'm doing these videos so that it is easier to digest because a lot of people aren't going to want to read 300 pages. I understand that. And so hopefully these videos and the people reading them engage you to follow through and understand more and help that reach be stronger because I know most people aren't going to read 300 pages. I've been trying to get people to read it for 6 years and not one person has read this whole thing. And so hopefully at least one person will video the whole thing or watch all these videos. TBD!
I am interested in seeing how this whole project wraps up and
Me too.
seeing if there's any more additions coming out or if there's any more of this to see. So
I will do this until
thank
I
you for
die.
having me be a part of it. This was really cool, and I'm sorry it took me so long, but I hope that if you need more of this, please let me know. I'd be happy to. And I
Thank
hope
you.
you're doing well.
I hope you're doing well too, Mara. And thank you again for reading this. Thank you for your feedback. And thank you watching this and listening to this right now. I love you. Thank you for being here. And that is basically. Oh no! I also wanted to do a segment. This is going to be a little maybe controversial or something like that. But uh, I'm gonna put. I put my treatise into ChatGPT, and I'm gonna have ChatGPT summarize the things that we have read today, and see if it makes sense to an AI bot. Because one of the things through this is I think we have already passed the singularity merge. If not necessarily like in time, but I think that like we've gotten to the point of funk in the future that it is reaching back and inspiring this moment, um, which we'll get into more of that later and kind of making more sense of that. But AI is becoming more and more powerful, and you can see it happening throughout this entire treatise. Like it was nowhere near the level it was 6 years ago when I started this as it is now. But I predict a lot of the things that we're experiencing today in the treatise. And so I find that branch together is super fascinating. So let's see what ChatGPT said about page one. So page one Introduces the treatise as an evolving living document, an expanding treatise in theory of the funk, which, yes, it is a expanding living document. It will be changing until I die. I'm going to edit this and put out new editions until I can no longer do that, and then I pass it to you, the future. Expanding treatise in theory of the funk, reflecting on convergence, divergence, parability, and the infinite. The tone is reminiscent of a Hitchhiker's Guide, suggesting a cosmic, playful, but sincere exploration of life, the universe, and nothing. It sets the stage for a journey that is both personal and universal, reflective and experimental. Pretty on point. Page 2. Issues a repeated warning. Reading further is irreversible. This frames the text as a semi-comprehensive, intentionally incomplete collection of thoughts and investigations. This aims to inspire comfort and well-being, but acknowledges the work has caused both harm and healing. Excuse me, when I talk a lot, gas builds. I don't know why. Urges the reader to relax and approach the material slowly and thoughtfully with the assurance that the funk provides. And you're going to hear that a lot in this treatise, and me personally say, because I have complete faith in that. The funk does provide. It provides anything, everything. Normally, you'll hear me saying it after synchronous moments, like moments where you're like, man, that's what's a good one? I'm blanking on moments. We'll get there, but essentially, like you will feel these moments yourself, and you'll hear me saying them in the. I'm stumbling. Let's move on. All right, page 3. This presents a welcoming message, noting our deeper connection now. This includes reviews and comments from early readers, some deeply engaged, others confused or skeptical, and some playful. This emphasizes the difficulty of these ideas and the naturalness of confusion and learning. This acknowledges that the act of reading and connecting with this treatise already means that you're part of its unfolding story, which is, as you are understanding now, as I'm attempting to prove to you. Page 4. This discusses the funk as a concept experienced across time and in any order. This emphasizes the importance of comfort and openness to interpretation. The text is an invitation to join a collective investigation. The author seeks feedback and hopes for co-creation, seeing the work as a vehicle all readers can drive, ride, or abandon as needed. Learning is a communal, ever-shifting endeavor. Well put. Page 5. This reflects on the challenge of communication, especially for ideas that may seem strange or difficult. The author is both the teacher and the student, always seeking new input. Urges readers to approach with an open mind and a willingness to challenge beliefs with references to advanced epistemic knowledgeable learnings. Epistemology is the study of truth. This personalizes the journey, noting the role of the gut or the funk feelings as a calling towards deeper connections. And epistemics is like absolute truth, like things that are known to be true, which very few things that we actually know are to be true. And we can even argue the only thing that we know to be true is that, as Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. But again, we still can't prove that in a way. So, epistemics, learning what is absolutely true. Page 7. Yes. Page 7 explores the power of pattern recognition, suggesting that by observing and understanding patterns, like in puzzles or language, we expand the funk. Both action and inaction contribute to the process. Doing is often more productive, but non-doing is still a part of the grand equation. Funk is the sum of all doings and non-doings, endlessly iterating and looping through experience. Page 8 focuses on individuality and collectivity. Each person is unique, but over infinite time, identities blend and evolve. The I and you, blend and evolve. The I and you are always distinct, but can approach each other through experience and empathy, though never truly becoming one another. Infinity means we are always both one and many, existing, acting, and experiencing, regardless of success or failure. We contribute, existing, acting, and experiencing, regardless of success or failure, contribute to the expansion of the funk. Page 9. This considers failure as a necessary and even valuable aspect of progress. Einstein said failure is success in progress. This encourages continuous engagement with the funk, noting that every experience, good, bad, or indifferent, adds to the collective whole. Chance, randomness, and improbability are all fundamental. When the unlikely happens, it becomes inevitable in hindsight, and everything flows from every moment. And then page 10. This acknowledges the limitations of human understanding and technology, suggesting that future beings or advanced tech may comprehend the font more fully. The author appeals for the reader's input and reflections as vital to expanding the theory, and asks the reader to consider their own examples of the funk and how they would describe or translate their understanding. It concludes with a reflection on how all experience, even suffering, contributes to the ongoing communal exploration of existence. And as a combined summary, pages 1 through 10. The opening section of the Funk Treatise acts as a cosmic philosophical overture, part manifesto, part meditation, and part interactive invitation. I'm going to pause there for a second because manifestos have a negative connotation, but essentially what a manifesto is just a call to action. There are definitely bad manifestos out there for people who had bad intentions. This is not one of those. That is why it is a treatise. It is just a lengthy writing on a particular broad subject, many subjects. It frames the funk as the totality of being, doing, experiencing, and not experiencing. A living process, both personal and universal, that connects everyone and everything through the sum of all actions and non-actions. The author encourages readers to approach the treatise with an open, relaxed, and curious mind, acknowledging the difficulty and ambiguity of the subject matter. Warnings about the irreversibility of reading are both playful and sincere, suggesting that engagement with these ideas fundamentally changes the reader. Communication and learning are depicted as communal, ever evolving, and non-linear, with feedback and co-creation encouraged at every step. Through references to pattern recognition, individuality, collectivity, failure, and progress, the text positions all experience, whether success or suffering, as raw material for the continual expansion of the funk. The first 10 pages are thus an extended preamble, setting the tone for a sprawling, interconnected journey. They challenge the reader to move beyond passive consumption, to participate, reflect, and contribute. The treatise is less static than text. The treatise is less a static text than a living, recursive invitation to join a cosmic dialogue about what it means to be, to do, and to become. I also really enjoy a preamble. Basically, that is a better kind of word than introduction. Um, and so, yeah, that is pages 1 through 10, as read by Mara McGhee. Mara, again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And again, thank you for watching, whoever you are in the future that I am now connected to in whatever way, whether I am alive or not. Cool beans. You can share this with whatever. Again, I'm really bad at endings. I don't know how to do that. I don't like saying goodbye and everything. And so we'll just do that. I love you. Goodbye. Have a great day or night or whatever you're doing. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.